Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, where are you at in your day? Thank you for joining us at the Screaming Democrat. I'm the Screaming Democrat. Let's get right in it. So, today I would like to talk about three wonderful things, since obviously Trump still has the government shut down. It's consumerism, capitalism, and fairness. I know, three really odd, big isms and words. But capitalism, consumerism, and fairness. I know. So, what do those words mean in general? Like, we use them a lot. We're in a capitalistic society. We're capitalist. What does it really mean, though? Consumerism. What does it really mean, consumerism? We consume a lot, but what in the grand scheme do those both mean? All right. Consumerism is literally all the services and goods that one actually uses. All right. It's called consumerism. You consume. All right. And it can be goods or services. Capitalism is the way that we pay for those services. There's other types of isms, but capitalism, which uses a form of money, is the most concurrent way that we are using our stuff. All right. So consumerism and capitalism is put together and is interchanged a lot of the time, but they're not actually the same, but they do support each other. All right. And you need consumerism to support capitalism, and you need capitalism to support consumerism. And the more consumerism you have, the more capitalism you have. The more capitalism that you have, the more consumerism you need. I know. But then let's get into fairness. And that's a big word. Fairness. Because a lot of people recently have been screaming, that's not fair. That's not fair. We don't get that. We should get that. That's not fair. So let's talk about fairness, equality, and equity. I know, big words, big words. So equality and equity and fairness. So should we give everyone the same thing? All right. And I use this analogy a lot, so I'll use it with you. We have two people trying to look over a fence. One's tall, one's short. If we gave each person a 1-inch block, the tall person's 1 inch taller, and the short person's 1 inch taller as well. But only one eventually can see over the fence, which would be the tall person. You gave them both the same thing. That's very communistic of you. Now, how about equity? We give them what they need. Okay, so instead, the tall person only needs 1 inch. We give them 1 inch. The short person needs 3 feet. We give them 3 feet. They both now can look over the fence, all right, which is the goal, even though they were both given different amounts. That's equity, very socialism of you, all right? And then somewhere in the middle is actually what we have as Americans. All right. That is socialism, communism, in the democratic way. And it shows about fairness because, yes, everybody should have the right to participate. That is fair. But not everybody has the ability to participate in A, the same way, and B, the same amounts, or C, at all. Like, take 2 steps and you can't do any more type shit. So fairness is allowing them and getting them the ability to be able to finish the race, even if it's at their own pace, because it's simplifying the goal. Either the goal is to finish the race or it's to participate in the race. A lot of stuff like that is simple, all right? And we break it down, and then if somebody needs an exception, we're like, yeah, because that would be fair. That would give you the ability to participate with everybody else. And that's fairness. But we also recognize that fairness is not the same for everybody. All right? And that's part of what makes America great, though. We don't all have to be the same. We don't all need to be named John and Mary. We don't all have to believe in the same things. We don't all have to live the same lifestyle. And then we come together and we discuss ideas and thought processes, and we come up with innovations, and we come up with things to make our country great and move forward. Unless the goal is actually that it's not to win, it's not to actually participate, it's to make sure that nobody else participates or ever wants to participate again. All right? That is what Hitler, aka Donald J. Trump, is doing. He doesn't want people to participate. He wants the select few. He wants a pay to play type deal. And the problem with that is that some of our best innovations, some of our best jumps forward are not always those moments that are pay to play. In fact, necessity is the mother of invention. There you go. Necessity is the mother of invention. Not money, but it helps. Not time, but it helps. Necessity. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor today. It's Cricket House Studios. You can see their design work and some of their other items at Zazzle.com/Cricket Diane, and that's Cricket House Studios. All right, now let's get back to where we were at, through the cornfield. I'm just saying, it's always an option, especially if you got one of those wonderful Jeeps. Oh my God. Just saying. Do not go through a cornfield in a Kia. You will get stuck, and it will be hilarious. Everybody will laugh, including me, because everybody and their mama knew you don't take a cornfield in a Kia. You take it in a Jeep, you take it in a G-Wagon. You do not do it in a Kia. And that is some of that common sense stuff, like, you know, where are we going forward? How do we get there? And what is the best way to get there? Because some of us do have limitations, like driving the freaking Kia. And unfortunately, those have to be taken into account. Because, again, not all of us have got a Jeep. Some of us have got a Kia. Some of us have got a Toyota. Some of us have no car. Okay? That is the analogy. But as Americans, we recognize that, and we like to try to include everybody as part of our consumerism. All right? Because the more people that participate, the more people we can make money off of. That's capitalism, which is the American way, if you didn't know. We like money, which is part of why Donald J. Trump is doing what he's doing right now. Because he knows that there are several industries that rely on not just the food stamp money, but the industries like the FAA. We rely on them to keep us safe. We rely on them to ensure that those planes don't slam into people or other planes with 100 people on them. All right? We rely on that. And because we don't have that now, we now have to have our airports reduced in traffic. All right. That means not only is the TSA getting through that wonderful checkpoint even longer, 3 hours long. Okay. You would have thought I was talking about the 1990s 3-hour wait lines. All right. So 3-hour wait lines finally get past TSA to find that there are very limited flights going in and out of wherever you're at. All right? And then there's the problem of, is it safe? You get in a plane, you want the plane to stay together. You get in the plane, you want it to take off, and then you want it to fly, and then you want it to land safely. Safely. Because you know, and I know, that it's like a giant rocket strapped to your ass. And nobody wants a rocket to go boom or catch fire. It's never fun. Challenger, anybody? And for those of you that are way too young to understand what that comment was, please Google the Challenger explosion. All right? It was a horrific experience. It was a horrific event. Everybody got to watch if you were watching. And people that we really were like, yay! They're no longer here. So my condolences. Always. Okay? I'm not that crazy of a bitch. But Challenger, a mistake cost a lot of people's lives. And we've actually done that through the years. We've learned our hubris. We've learned our mistakes. And then it's like we're almost doomed to repeat them and do the cycle all over again because here we are repeating the Hitler cycle. And we are. I get it. A lot of people, again, don't like it when I make the reference that Hitler is Trump and Trump is Hitler and his cronies are Nazis. Scapegoating a people, that's Nazism. Blaming people for the problems that you cause, that's Nazism. Using the patriotism and not the nationalism against a person so that they can feel guilt and shame about being a better countryman. That's Nazism. The bullying and abuse and essentially blaming the poorest of the poor when literally we've had corporations for years make maximum revenues and profits while not paying the lowest paid employee even a reasonable rate. Look at Walmart. Look at what their standard rates are. All right. And then ask yourself, where's the PTO? Where's the retirement? Somebody works there for 15 years on the floor. They should be able to afford to retire in 10 years. Not looking at, I still need 20 more years before I can retire. And I'm only making $20 an hour as a manager. That is ridiculous. And that goes for EMTs too and paramedics. There is no reason they should be making as little as they do. But again, part of that is that consumerism and capitalism and fairness. And a lot of corporations want us, the little people, the working people, the poor people, the people that are not them, to continuously fight amongst ourselves. All right? Because then we're too busy fighting, we're too busy surviving to actually focus on getting better, getting stable, and making more money. And that is the whole point of what Donald Trump is doing and all his Nazi cronies, because they want to take over America. So America, wake up! It's time to open your eyes. It's time to open your ears. And it's definitely time to open your fucking mouth. Wake up! Get up! And start speaking up. Because if you don't, he will take it away. And I know, because that's his standard MO. He takes what he can, and he leaves what he can't, and he destroys what he can't. And that's what he will do. And we don't want that as a people. We don't want that as Americans. So we need to start standing up, and we need to start literally blaming the blame to the people who are actually responsible for the fiasco we are currently in. Donald J. Trump, his Magnians and his Trumpians, his cronians, his people that literally will not fart without his permission. That's him. Okay? So please, wake up, America. Start running around and putting the blame at the blame of people's feet. Because yes, we want fairness. Yes, we want equality. We want equity. And we want our people to be fed, to be healthy, to be cared for, and not have to stress out about BS while some rich dude is blowing holes into landmarks and holes into other constitutional things. Like, come on. I get it. It's a bit much, but it needs to happen. You need to stand up. And if not, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe. I will gladly keep standing up. I will gladly keep fussing and cussing into the darkness. All right. If you like what we're doing here at the Screaming Democrat, please subscribe. Please share. Turn on your notifications for when I'm posting. Also, this upcoming Saturday, which depending on where that's at, is November 8th. We're going to be hopefully doing a live show. I would love for you to come and join us. So please look forward to hearing from you. And again, thank you all. Good evening, good afternoon, and good night.